I sent 50 million Instagram messages last year. Nobody knows what I'm doing in the DMs until today. My team and I have built over 100,000 automations, and every dollar of the $100 million generated in sales went through automated DMs. Now, many people have shared their ManyChat tutorials, but nobody's ever shown you what generating $100 million in the DMs actually looks like until now. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 8 tactics we're using to get the best results with ManyChat in 2026, from beginner to advanced. Now, if you know what ManyChat is and you're already posting on Instagram, then this is for you. And the first one alone impacted conversions more than anything else that we have tested in the last 12 months. The first thing that you need to understand is that one small tweak to your call to action can give you 40% better conversions without changing anything else about your content. In early 2025, we started testing follow me, then comment a word as a call to action on posts, and the results were immediate. We saw huge follower growth, way more people opening messages, and more sales and leads because of it. Now, the reason this works is simple, but most people completely miss it. 10 to 50% of people who comment on your posts just aren't following you yet, so that means that your automated DM lands in their message request folder on Instagram, which is where leads go to die. So most people check this hidden inbox once a month, if ever, and the fix is just one phrase: follow me, then comment. Once they follow first, your DM lands in their main inbox, and we've seen up to 50% higher open rates and responses just from that one change. And the bonus is that every person who follows you now to get your offer stays a follower. So they're going to see your next post and become a customer way faster. So a 60-second way that you can start to test this out is go into your most recent post with a call to action in it saying comment whatever, and just edit the caption to say follow me, then comment the word, and track your open and click rate inside of ManyChat for the next 7 days. Compare it to your previous posts. Most people think this one formatting change looks unprofessional, but we saw it boost funnel completion by 10% across dozens of accounts. People finish your DM funnels way more when messages feel like they're coming from a real human. So we tested this across dozens of accounts over the last 12 months, and texting in lowercase consistently outperformed traditional capitalization by over 10%. Now that means that the number of people who actually entered the DMs and got to the end of the conversation went up by 10%. Think about how you actually text your friends. You don't perfectly capitalize every single sentence, and instead you'll write a little bit more off the cuff. So even if you're B2B or B2C or a big enterprise brand, when we type in lowercase, it does present this feeling of more authenticity, especially in the world of AI where people want to feel more connection, and lowercase is a low effort but high value way for you to do that as a brand. Now, if you're worried that lowercase is not going to match your brand, then you can test this by using a persona. So you could do something like, hey, it's Mark from so-and-so team, to see if you get better results. So you could just set up 2 identical automations and split test it inside of ManyChat to see which one is going to perform the best. And we look for getting at least 100 people to open a message and then take action or not to decide which split test actually won. We built the playbook that everyone copied for collecting emails through the DMs, but in 2025, we changed our own advice and the results were immediate. Now, prior to 2025, we would follow this funnel framework where somebody comes into the DMs and we confirm that they want to get the thing that we promised them, such as a free download. Then we would ask them for their first name, and then we would ask them for their email, and then we would give them whatever we promised and continue the conversation into some kind of upsell or nurturing conversation. Now, every week, our team runs experiments and split tests to know what's actually performing the best, even if it completely goes against the data that we've seen performing well in the past few months. And so every single week for years, we were testing the order of this funnel, and up until 2025, it was the first message, then first name, then email, and then the offer that performed the best. But in 2025, that flipped, and we actually found that we were starting to get way better results when we asked for email and then first name and then the offer. So we tested this across B2B and B2C accounts. We tested it across high ticket and low ticket offers, warm and colder audiences. And so asking for the email first outperformed the first name almost every single time, and now that's our playbook. And I believe that the strongest reason why is because, first of all, user consumer behavior changes changed a little bit as more and more people were asking for information in the DMs. And so it seemed most logical to the user that we would ask for their email first, because the messaging would flow as, hey, do you still want to get this offer? Okay, great. What email should we send it to? So that got us the highest conversion rate. And then from there, we would then ask them for their name on the back end of that, because they're more likely to share it now. They're already 2 steps deep into the process, right? It allows us to better organize our leads so we can better serve them and personalize those emails. So for all those reasons, we then ask, just so I don't mix you up with somebody else, what is your first name? And then from there, we then go into the rest of the funnel. So first message, ask for the email, ask for their first name, and then move into the next step is what's currently performing the best for us now. And what you'll want to do to implement that is go into your highest traffic automation, reverse that order, and test it against what you used to do for at least a week to see what performs better. The number one thing killing most people's first DM conversions isn't their offer or their funnel. It's the word count of their message. Now, in your first message, after somebody replies to a story or comments a specific word on a post, you must keep this to 4 short sentences maximum. You want to use emojis strategically to make your copy more digestible, not just for the sake of like throwing them in there. Too many emojis feels a little bit spammy, AI generated, but just the right touch can feel most aligned. And sometimes for some of you, not using any emojis is going to be the better move. So ultimately, you want to go off of what you typically do in your post captions on social media as a starting point. Now, the best rule that I can give you for keeping your copy short is that after you write out a first draft of what you want to say in that first DM that you're going to send to people, you now go through and you go, okay, this is a paragraph. How can it become a sentence? This is a sentence. How can it become a word or get merged into another sentence? And then if I have a complex word, how can I simplify it down to a 3rd grade reading level? Every extra word is going to be friction and something that people might potentially skim past or get distracted by. And so it's really important to keep the message as short and direct as possible so that as many people as possible feel like they understood your message and click to continue the conversation and become a lead. So pull up your highest performing automation right now, read the first message out loud, and if it takes longer than 10 seconds to read, then cut it in half. And then you can keep cutting it in half until that happens. And then you can test that version against your original over the next 7 days. The reason half of your audience dropped off before you even finished setting up an automation isn't that they were lost. They just needed a follow-up at the right moment. Now, for B2B audiences, we use 3-minute and 22-hour later follow-ups because they're a little bit more tolerant to follow-up messages, right? They've built sales sequences and things before, and sometimes they really do just need that nudge. It's a lot less emotional and personal for them if they get follow-up messages from you. Now, for B2C, they are a lot more allergic to salesy messages. And so you only want to do the 22-hour follow-up just so that you're not feeling pushy if they dropped off and then you message them 3 minutes later and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore, right? I didn't even know you could do that. You could message me, even more times. And so that is a feeling that we don't want to have happen. Whereas with B2B, they expect it. And in fact, you might be considered not a good business if they do not receive follow-up from you, because they're like, okay, they're clearly not on it when it comes to their sales process, but your consumers are not going to appreciate that. So when someone starts your automation but doesn't finish, that's when you're sending the follow-up. And then you can typically get another 10 to up to 30% of people back into the conversation. And we have tested every window imaginable, from a couple of seconds, 5 minutes, an hour, 6 hours, 48 hours, so on and so forth. And so these 2 windows of time, the 3-minute follow-up and the 22-hour, work the best. Now, the 3-minute follow-up, the reason why it works is because you're catching people who got distracted but are still likely on their phones or scrolling or maybe in another DM conversation. The 22-hour follow-up catches people who totally forgot. They got distracted by something deeper like a call or their kid was crying or something of that nature. And so together, being used for B2B, they recover revenue that would have been completely lost. And on the other hand, for your B2C people, the 22-hour later is a nice nudge and it does bring people back in. So to implement this, you can use conditions inside of ManyChat to check at the end who didn't click on your last step, for example, that might send to a sales page. And then from there, you can then send the 3-minute and or the 22-hour later follow-up, track how many people are opening and replying to those messages, and compare it to how many extra people you got there versus what you used to get with that previous automation. So when we're following up, like I was sharing, either 3 minutes later, 22 hours later, we used to say something like, reply with your email and I'll send this free guide over, which is telling them what to do. Now, instead, we try to end in a question every single time, no matter what, because that has gotten us a way better response rate every single time. So for example, we might say, what's your email so I can send this over? Or literally just a question mark, because sometimes a simple question mark actually outperforms all other copy that we test against it. A question feels conversational, and people increasingly hate being told what to do. And so in a DM funnel that they opted into, they want to answer a question or feel like they're in a conversation because it makes them feel like they're in control and it feels natural for the DM environment that they're in. So the thing that you can do right now to take this into account and start getting better results is go into your automations, find the follow-up messages that you have set up right now, and rewrite each sentence or statement that you've shared in a follow-up message into a question. Now, if you're gonna add extra text to it, that's okay. Try to keep it really short though, to like 2 or 3 sentences max, and make sure that you're ending with a question at the end of it. Test it for 7 days and see if your response rate is higher than your previous version. We used to gatekeep everything behind email collection, meaning that if you didn't give one of our accounts that we manage your email, then you wouldn't get the freebie, the discount code, whatever it was that was promised in the post or the story that you engaged with. Now, the people who refused to give their email would sometimes be like, hey, I don't feel comfortable leaving my email, or I don't want to, or whatever have you. And so we decided to shift that and go, okay, how do we protect the brand reputation and the rapport? Because then either people at least feel amicable about how our last interaction went with them as a brand, or they come back later and go, you know what, I really appreciate you sending that to me, and now I'm still interested in buying from you. So now if somebody says, hey, I don't want to give my email, then the automated DM funnel is just going to send them the thing that we promised without actually collecting their email. And a lot of those people end up coming back later, like I said, and buying anyways because we treated them with respect. We implement this in 2 spots. So the first is that if you ask somebody for their email and then they reply saying, I don't want to share my email, then we'll reply with something like, hey, no problem, here's the thing, like, hope you enjoy, hope you get value out of it. And then the other place is going to be the follow-up. So for example, with the 22-hour later follow-up, sometimes what we'll do, if we don't have any kind of upsell opportunity that we really want to maximize there, then we will follow up and just say, hey, like, no worries if you don't want to share your email, here's the link to the thing that you had asked for. So in the full funnel, that plays out as somebody enters the funnel and then they give us their email or they don't. And then from there, we then say, hey, no problem, or they just don't reply at all. And then we follow up 3 minutes later, we ask them for their email again. If they still don't reply, then 22 hours later, that's where we're saying, hey, no problem, if you don't want to share your email, here's the thing that I promised you. Instagram's shift from social graph to interest graph completely changed the math on call to actions. Our old rule was 1 in every 3 posts would have a call to action, but that was built for a platform that no longer exists. So this is something that we tested aggressively across many accounts in 2025. We used a call to action in every single post. And what we found was in a given calendar month, we got more leads and more sales than the accounts that were still only using a call to action in every 3rd post, meaning that 2 of 3 of their posts at any given time on their feed did not have a call to action and only 1 did. And the reason is actually very simple. In an interest graph world, meaning that every post you are reaching more and more non-followers than followers, that it makes the most sense to always have the ability to be able to invite people into a comment call to action, which gets them into your DMs, either for a free or a paid thing. So here are 2 options you have for implementing this. If you have an offer that you want to drive as many leads and sales to as possible, and the person that's creating content on your Instagram account maybe has too much on their plate, then what you want to do is use a PS section in the post caption. So an example of this would be after you have your main post caption, whether it's long, medium size, or literally just a sentence, you would say something like PS, or by the way, like if you're new here, or hey, my name is so-and-so, here's what I'm about, why I do what I do. And if you want to learn more about XYZ, then come check out my course, join my free webinar, download my free thing, whatever, just comment and you can get access to it. follow, then comment, by the way. But if you have more than one offer and they bring in just as much revenue as each other, and you have a team that has a little bit of capacity to test something new, then it can be more advantageous if you have a CTA posting schedule. So instead of using the same call to action in every single caption, no matter what, you would rotate through 3 to 5 at least free offers and then 1 to 5 paid offers. In this interest graph world, every post is a chance to convert someone new who's never heard of you but really needs help with the thing that you offer. If you're posting consistently but you're still not seeing revenue, then your content is not the problem. You just need to convert the attention that you're already getting inside of a way better conversion vehicle. So use these 8 tactics that we're using to get the best results yet with ManyChat in 2026. And if you have a 7 to 10 figure business that's posting content, you want to grow your revenue from that content while being able to track your sales accurately from content, then we specialize in helping you do that. You can check out the link in the description to learn more about how we work with clients, and I'll see you in the next video.